What's up, everybody? It's Hank here with Break MMA. This is a different episode because mostly I am an MMA podcast and I touch a little bit on other shows and other things. But today I'm going to do my first ever NFL football episode. Now we're going to touch just a little bit on a few random subjects here and there. Who we think is the best wide receiver of all time, my pick, his pick. We're going to talk a little bit about Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Patriots, and the latest news in the NFL so far. And I have Caleb here with me today. Hey, Caleb, how are you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Pretty good, pretty. It's been raining here all damn day, so it's been one of those days. It's been a boring ass
Yeah,
day.
me. Yeah, where I'm at too, man.
Yeah, a good day to stay inside and watch football all day.
For sure.
But yeah, the first thing we'll get into, I wrote down, and I've been wanting to talk about this with somebody. Greatest wide receiver of all time. Now, when you say that, the first thing that automatically comes to mind is a Jerry Rice. Maybe to me, and I'm curious to see your pick. My greatest wide receiver of all time, and I believe he has the stats to back it up. He's not got like record-breaking stats, but if you think about how long he played, and if you think about just domination, mine's Megatron, Calvin Johnson. Now, Calvin Johnson, he might not be the greatest of all time to many people's eyes. They call him the greatest of our generation. You know, like from 2000 to now, from like 2000 to 2018, definitely, probably. But I would argue that Megatron ranks among the greatest wide receivers of all time. He's my pick. I mean, he's got 700, over 73, over 1,100. Oh, my handwriting's sloppy as hell. 83 touchdowns, 86 yards per game, 11,619 total yards, and 731 receptions.
Megatron's an amazing wide receiver, but I'd always put him in the same conversation that I'd put not a different position, but like a Barry Sanders went to Detroit, and he was an amazing running back, and he done amazing things, but he never had a team behind him, and it's like they never were willing to build around him, and so he retired. He retired just because he had he was never going to get a ring. He realized that. He realized he was under contract, and they weren't willing to let him go, so he retired. Megatron, sort of the same thing. They weren't willing to let him go, and so he retired, and he just got tired of playing, I believe. He's still in his prime when he left, so he left a lot of meat on the bone. But as far as of our generation, of course, greatest of all time is Jerry Rice. The stats don't lie. He was a guy that, back in his day, Joe Montana would pass 5 yards to him and he'd take it the rest of the way. He didn't even need a long, armed quarterback. He was the total package. But as far as our generation, I would say more of which is another controversial pick, would probably be Terrell Owens or Randy Moss. I mean, stats.
Randy would be my number two. Mine wouldn't be like, if we're doing like an MMA reference, a split decision from Megatron and Randy Moss. Like, it's Megatron 1A and Randy Moss 1B. It's like super close. Yeah. Randy Moss is one of those guys that just made everything look incredible. I remember Randy played for my Patriots, that undefeated season. Randy did stuff that made your jaw drop way, way, way before somebody like an Odell Beckham Jr. with that one-handed catch. And I actually watched that special game that they played that night against I believe it was the Cowboys.
Yes, Cowboys versus the Giants. I watched it too.
Yeah, I was. I mean, it was a jaw-dropping moment. They put it on the cover of the game, for fuck's sake. So it was a crazy moment. It was definitely crazy. I don't think, and I'm an LSU fan. Like you said, you're an LSU fan. Odell Beckham went to LSU. I've been following Odell for a long time, way before he was a Giant. And I don't think a lot of people rank him number one or number two. Right now, I would take a few people over him. I would
as well.
I think Des Bryant, and we'll get into that a little bit with the Cowboys, but just like off the top of my head, I think Des Bryant should still be in the league some damn where.
Of course, of course.
I don't know why the Cowboys let him go at all.
Well, I'll give you a little bit more insight on that. So Dez took up a lot of salary cap, and he was the number one receiver, that is. And, you see they struggle without him. Now, what they didn't realize is Dez was your number one, and he was getting double teamed every game. So he's not going to – it's kind of like a Julio Jones is. Julio Jones is going to get double teamed every game against everybody because he is such a dynamic receiver. And the people around him are going to shine. So when Dez is in Dallas, of course, Cole Beasley's going to shine. Of course, Williams is going to shine on the other side because he's getting double teamed and there's less coverage on them. And so you got a safety coming over to help on Dez's side. So, yeah, he dropped a lot of passes. And, I still think that play at the end of the Green Bay game in the playoffs, I still think he caught that ball. He was reaching for the end zone.
That's a touchdown.
They called it the other way.
That's a touchdown.
Yeah, that was a touchdown. Now,
Yeah.
But, and as far as him playing in the NFL, there has been offers for him to play, but he's just not interested in playing, I think, for anybody other than Dallas. I think he's just a diehard, he wants to play for Dallas. He said, multiple times that he wants to go back to Dallas. The Browns offered him a contract. The Ravens offered him a contract. There's been teams that have been interested, and the Browns even had him in for a visit, but he just wasn't interested in going there for whatever reason.
I'm a die-hard Josh Gordon fan, not just because he was in New England. I remember when he was in Cleveland and they cut him for the weed and then brought him back and cut him and brought him back and cut him. I was the one that said Josh Gordon is a star. I was the one that said, well, him and Johnny Manziel could be a dangerous fucking package. That could be dangerous for people. But it obviously never came to, and it never happened. I don't believe they played any together. But
I think they played maybe a game together. I'll tell you who could have been even more dangerous. You got Baker Mayfield back there with Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
Johnny was a very good scrambler, and Baker is too, but I think Baker's a little bit more accurate, and his head's in a lot of a better place, obviously. Johnny Manziel, right out the gate, was having problems, and so was Josh Gordon. But, Josh Gordon has been amazing. He's gave so many years of his prime up. We don't really know what he is, what he could be. He could be the best receiver in the NFL right now, but he gave up, 3 or 4 years because of, he had kind of like Johnny Manziel,
When you're out for 3 years as a wide receiver, that's your stats are plummeting. Everybody else is rising and rising and rising and rising, and you're just staying there.
Yeah, but I'd say as far as right now in the NFL, which I'm a Saints fan, so of course mine, my favorite's always gonna be Michael Thomas. He's incredible. What he's been able to do is incredible, but he's got an amazing quarterback with him too. And but as far as number one right now, the way they played this season and last season, DeAndre Hopkins is an amazing wide receiver. Amazing.
Yeah, he should. I mean, this is kind of sad to say, but if you put him on a different team, maybe not the Texans, he's amazing on the Texans. But let's say you put him with a Tom Brady or with Aaron Rodgers, that would be dangerous right there.
Exactly.
Cole Beasley stands out to me a lot. I've always liked Cole Beasley. He's underrated as hell. A lot of people underrate Cole Beasley. The Cowboys so far this season are 3-4. Do you think that's right where they should be? If I said, what's your over/under pick of the Cowboys making the playoffs? You say make the playoffs or nah?
Right now, it's a nay. Their defense has overperformed, in my opinion. I think they always do overperform with what they have, but because they don't really have any extreme star power on their defense. They don't have any everybody's just kind of average. And their offensive line was amazing, but for some reason they don't have that deep threat. They don't have a threat downfield for Dak, so there's no respect for the passing game. They have any defense that goes against them has no respect. They're putting 8 in the box. They're going to shut Zeke down. It don't matter how good your offensive line is. Those 5 guys going against 8 guys every single time. That's why they bring in Amari Cooper. They need somebody to make a defense respect the passing game again. So Amari Cooper, I think he's coming off of a concussion. He's a great one. I couldn't believe the Raiders gave him up. They gave him up for a first-round draft pick, but they drafted him inside the top 5, and what he is. It's like Dallas is an amazing opportunity for them because you're getting a guy that's still 24 years old. You know he can perform. You know he's a high level receiver, and you're getting him for what you could get somebody that you don't know about. Like the Bears, they gave a top 10 pick up for Kevin White a couple years ago, and he hasn't even played I think one game, and so that was waste of a pick where they could have got something like that. Now they got Amari Cooper, and he's a for sure talent.
The Raiders, to me, are absolutely slipping. How the hell do you let Khalil Mack go? That, to me, is insane. You let Khalil Mack leave, basically let him leave, and then you get a first-rounder, but Amari Cooper, like you said, is a solid, trusted wide receiver.
Exactly. Khalil Mack has performed better than his stats are better than the entire Raiders defense this year. So he's already outperformed their entire defense by himself in Chicago. He is an amazing, amazing player. Him and J.J. Watt is a amazing defensive end too. But as far as defensive ends, Khalil Mack is top echelon of the league.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking Mack over Watt or Clowney, even, separate side, I know, but I'm taking him over Clowney or that any day. The Chiefs also, Patrick Mahomes, I'm really high on Patrick Mahomes. I didn't watch him in college much, very, very, very little, but I have watched him as a pro now. He's 6-1, and his only loss is to my Patriots, and it was a crazy game, probably the best game of the season between the Chiefs and the Patriots, back and forth. And we ended up pulling it out, but it was so close. I think it was good for him. I said it was better for him to lose that game. You get that experience with Tom Brady. It's like you went 5 rounds with Tyson. You lost, but you hung in there with Tyson. So, what are your thoughts on Patrick Mahomes? Do you think he's a star in the making? Do you think he's a top 5 quarterback right now? His stats right now say he's thrown more touchdowns than anybody. I don't know the exact stats, but I know he's got the most touchdowns in the league right now.
Yes, Patrick Mahomes, I have watched him since college. I was watching him when he was at Texas Tech, and I can't remember the guy's name he played with that was a starter at Texas Tech before him that went to, I believe, Cal and now plays for the Giants as a backup. But I was watching him then, and you could tell then he was a star. He's got an incredible arm. My Saints are actually going to pick up Mahomes in last year's draft, but he just went before. They had 13th pick. I think he went 10th to Kansas City. He's an amazing talent. He's athletic. He can run. He's got a hell of an arm. He's accurate, and he's got a lot of weapons around him. I mean, he's probably got the most, talent-wise stacked offense in the NFL other than the Raiders. I mean, not the Raiders, the Rams.
Kelsey, Hunt. Yeah.
Kelsey. Yeah, I mean, he's got Hunt. He's got Kelsey. He's got, on the outside, he's got Hill. He's got Thomas. He's got an amazing offense around him, And then you got him, and he's like a jack of all trades as well.
Tavon Austin is Go ahead.
Tavon Austin's with the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think Tavon and Amari, that's a good combo. I think going back to what we were on before, I think the Cowboys won the trade. You gave up a first-round pick, but you get a solid receiver. I think the Cowboys, it was kind of odd because we're in a little mid-season, and it happened. And the Cowboys haven't really done much. They didn't do anything in the offseason hardly besides let Dez go. And it's just I think it's kind of like desperation mode. The Cowboys are like, we need Zach, we need Zach, Dak, Zeke, and our offense to be on pace. We got to get Amari to try to help. We need Tavon Austin to step up. We got to do something to try to make the playoffs so we can try to pull off something.
Exactly. I think it's a good sign for Dak, them trading that first round pick away, because a lot of people thought this was Dak's year to prove himself. And while he hasn't played, he hasn't had much targets around him. But by them trading that first round pick away, at least shows him that I think this is his end of his contract year. At least shows they're gonna, at least franchise tag him if nothing else, and he's gonna have another year. So it's definitely a good sign for him to get, that first round pick out of there. But I think Dak's a good quarterback. I wouldn't say he's top of the NFL. I wouldn't say, I think the only player right now on young quarterback that is top of the NFL right now is probably Mahomes. And as far as elite, yes, that's probably about it. And I wouldn't say he's elite yet, but he's got a very good offense around him. And so does Goff. Jared Goff has an amazing offense around him as well.
Yeah, if like we're going star power for star power, I think Mahomes is way better than Jared Goff. But
Oh yeah,
the
yeah, exactly. But
offense, when you add
there's certain
Todd Gurley,
pieces.
that changes things with Todd Gurley.
Yeah, he's got Todd Gurley in the backfield. And Hunt is amazing, but Todd Gurley is a monster.
Definitely. Another team this year, a team that every year they're either in the championship for the division or in the Super Bowl is my Patriots. And they come off a pretty devastating loss to the Eagles in the last Super Bowl. Obviously, everybody thought they would win that with the backup quarterback being in. They didn't pull it off. Good close game. It was a cool, fun game, but they lost. Coming into this season, it kind of started off a little wobbly. Kind of started off loss here, win, loss. We're right now sitting at 5-2 at the top of the division, but are the Patriots slipping a little bit? Do you think we're getting in a time where we might see the Patriots start to not be as dominant? Because he's starting to lose his receivers. Danny Amendola's gone. He doesn't have a lot of people now. He doesn't have LeGarrette Blount in the backfield. He lost a lot of tools. Are we looking at a time where the Patriots might not be as good as they once was 5 years ago?
Well, the Patriots, Tom Brady is a great quarterback. And you say he lost the options. He lost Amendola, but he's got Hogan. He's got Edelman back now. He's got Gronk. Gronk's got something going on with his back, but Gronk's a monster. He's going to play when the lights are shining. So you got Gronk, and then you got Josh Gordon coming in. He's getting more weapons around him, and which Bill Belichick builds around Brady. He puts people around Brady that make Brady better, like Edelman. Edelman is anywhere else in the league, he's not a top receiver. But with Brady, that's Brady's perfect receiver. Brady's got the best of everything around him. He's got Gronk that can go up and get it. He's got Edelman that's elusive, and you give him the ball in a 5-yard pass, he's going to catch it. He's not the fastest, but he's elusive. He's smaller, so you can throw it down. And you got Gronk who can throw it up. So you got all these options around. You got a pretty good offensive line. They do got some good running backs there. They got White, who's been playing great, and he had that big game against Atlanta in the Super Bowl. And they got other running backs that are hurt. Sony Michel, a great running back last year at Georgia. I think they got they got a good team. I don't think they're slipping as much as Brady's past 40 now, and I don't think he's diminished much if at all. But it's time for them to start. You're going to have to find somebody for him to groom for them to stay in the top of the attention. They're in a let's face it, they're in an easy division. Miami's doing pretty good this year, but they're going to win the division, so they're going to make the playoffs either way. I don't think there's anybody in that division other than Miami that could challenge them. And I don't think Miami just chokes when they get up against them. You saw what happened to Miami on Thursday with the Texans, so they got blew out of the water. So I think they definitely make the playoffs. That's 100%. And I think the only team in the AFC that could really challenge them would be the Chiefs. And that's kind of like they'd have to catch Brady on an off day, or Belichick. Because Belichick, a lot of people say Brady's the greatest of all time. I don't agree. I think he's on the greatest team of this generation. He's probably the greatest coach of all time, but he's got a lot. He's always had a good defense. So I think with or without Brady, I think the Patriots are still a playoff team, as long as they get a decent quarterback in there. So I don't think they're slipping. I think for any team to beat Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick would have to have be sick or something. I think they're definitely a Super Bowl team this year.
Does Brady need Belichick more, or does Belichick need Brady more? Because I'm a firm believer of Belichick needs Brady. Brady is the greatest of all time, in my opinion. I mean, name a better quarterback. Name a better quarterback.
I'll name one. I'll name one better quarterback.
Joe Montana. Is it Joe Montana?
No. Joe Montana, like I said, he had Jerry Rice. He wasn't a Steve Young coming right after him doing the same exact thing he was doing. So I wouldn't say Joe Montana, who's an amazing quarterback, not taking anything away from him. But I think my pick for greatest of all time would have to be Drew Brees right now. At his age,
You're a
he
little
lost a year of
biased.
his career.
So am I. You're a Saints fan. I'm a Patriots fan. We're both a little biased.
Yeah, I'm a little biased, but at the same time, he just got the passing yards record. That's something that Brady had to play another about 3 or 4 years. He's got the most 5,000 yard seasons. He's consistently been a step ahead of every other quarterback. He's put more production up. He's had less tools his entire career, and the only time he's ever had a top 5 defense, he's won a Super Bowl against Peyton Manning, who many people do believe is the greatest of all time.
Well, but if you go ring for ring and stat for stat, it's no comparison between Tom Brady and Drew Brees.
Well, stat for stat, Brees is going to win every time.
As far as stats, more yards, but what about touchdowns? Brees has way more touchdowns as well, because I think they're both at 500.
I think Brady might have one more than Brees, but he's also older, and Brees lost a year of his career.
Different styles. Brady's not a run and gun slinger like Brees. Brees throws that motherfucker downfield and they catch it. Brady's more of a slant, hit you with a post, just throw it up and let Gronk do his thing with it. But clutch. 1 minute on the clock.
Oh, clutch.
1 minute on the clock.
Yeah.
You're losing. You want one quarterback. You're telling me you want Brees over Brady?
I want Brees with Belichick on the sideline. 100%. I think Brady needs Belichick more than. I think if you put Brady on the New Orleans Saints and you put Brees with the Patriots, I'm not going to say exactly the same results. I mean, maybe better results for the Patriots with Brees. Brees is just accurate. And he's very, like I said, he slings it downfield. He's never had a running game up until, you just got Kamara and Ingram started to pick up now. He's never had a top wide receiver. His number one receiver, he's got the most touchdowns thrown to is Colston, and he wasn't even drafted. Where Brady's had a lot more weapons, and he's had a top defense damn near every year of his career.
Mark Ingram is a bust.
Not a bust. He is a monster.
Mark Ingram is not bust. Like he's a monster.
Yeah. He's not. He's definitely not a bust. He is a monster.
He's a truck.
He's short, stocky. Yeah.
I'm a huge.
And Alvin Kamara is a monster, and he's the most. I've never seen. He's not fast, but he just runs. Just glides by people, glides through traffic. I mean, he's amazing. What's amazing.
The Saints' record right now? What's your record?
We've lost one game. We are 4-1 or 5-1.
And who's all in your division?
We've got Carolina, Atlanta, and Tampa Bay.
So really, you only got to worry about Cam. Is Cam doing good this season? I haven't been watching Cam much.
They've only lost 2 games. They've lost to Atlanta, and they've lost to, I believe, Cincinnati.
Yeah, Julio Jones is just a freak of nature. He's one of the best wide receivers, right? Probably the best today.
Yeah, like I said, he's double teamed. And you look back, they played the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I mean, some of the catches he made was just unbelievable.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming on too, man. Get to our last topic here, and I'll let you get off here, and we got some more football to watch, I'm sure. Colin Kaepernick. Now, there's a lot of debate going on about all this and crazy stuff going on, all the kneeling and the protesting, and should he be in the NFL, should he not be in the NFL? I remember Colin Kaepernick, I think it was the 2012, maybe 2011 season where he played Seahawks in that division championship and won and had that great game and come back, and then the next year was great. If you just look at that, like if you look at the years he was in the championship games and won, and did he make it to one Super Bowl? I believe.
Yes, he lost to the Ravens in the Super Bowl.
But he made it to one and played a hell of a game. If you just look at that, and you didn't know, if you didn't know football, you take a UFC fan. We both watch UFC. You take a UFC fan and show him that tape, and you're like, should this guy play in the NFL? They would say definitely. I believe if you're just going by talent, if you're going by who is snapping the ball to and who is dropping back in that pocket and passing and running, he should play. But that's not all we have to worry about right now because of what has happened. But just based on that, his talent, should he be there? I know he fell off
Of
a little
course.
bit. He did fall off a little bit from that 2011, 12, 13 was really good. And then 14, 15, 16, 17 was, or I don't know about that. 14, 15, 16 was really, really bad. So, and people throw that argument up as his last few years sucked. He was on the downside. That is a good point. He was doing not as good as he once was.
Exactly. But Colin Kaepernick, when he had a good team around him, he shined. When Jim Harbaugh was there, and he stepped in, I believe, half season for Alex Smith, who was doing amazing, and he still is doing amazing in Washington. Who played really well with the Chiefs, up until now. But he stepped in for Alex Smith midseason, and he took him to the Super Bowl. And he played an amazing game in the Super Bowl. It was great. Played great the next season. Lost a heartbreaker to the Seahawks, and Richard Sherman tipped it up and got intercepted by the linebacker in the end zone at the end of the game. Talent-wise, of course, there's definitely a team that could use Colin Kaepernick. Quite a few. I mean, Miami. I mean, Ryan Tannehill's hurt. I mean, I think he's better than Ryan Tannehill. Obviously, many teams that could use Buffalo. All these teams could definitely use him, and he'd definitely make them better. But as far as politics, I don't mind him playing. I think he should play. I don't think there's a problem with what he did or anything like that. That's his own opinion. He has the right to do it. I don't see why he isn't playing. That's I think politics should stay out of football, but at the same time, he has the right to do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people say the same thing about. That's why I watch football, is to get away from politics. Don't bring politics into my football. I want that out of it. He should definitely be in the league, but all of what he's done and stood for. If it was you, this is what I'll just ask. If it was you and you were making millions of dollars and you had a family and all that to support, would you throw it all away for a principle and a cause? Because me, I have 3 kids and a wife and all that. And you've heard NFL players say this, on Undisputed and other shows like that. They're like, I'm not kneeling because I'm not risking, that's my paycheck. I need my paycheck. If it was me, I wouldn't risk it. That's just me.
Honestly, as far as politics and football, I don't really care either way. But if they didn't want you to see it, if he was kneeling, and don't put the camera on him, just put the camera on the national anthem singer. Why are you pointing at him? You're giving him the attention, and that's what's ultimately. If you didn't want it, just don't show it. Right now, people are doing it; they're just not showing it anymore. So, and as far as throwing it away, I definitely say do it. Do it when you're winning. You're winning Super Bowls. Like if Tom Brady's doing it, I don't think in his prime. I don't think anybody's complaining. But if you're having a down season, it's definitely not the time to start taking chances.
Yeah, definitely. But he should be on a team. We both agree to that. He should be in the NFL. We both definitely agree with that. I believe that his talent speaks for itself. He did have a few years off, but multiple teams, like you said, you named a few, Miami, just anybody. You could tomorrow Sunday, if Alex Smith gets hurt or if Joe Flacco goes down, you can't tell me that he wouldn't have success in Baltimore.
Look, any team could use him as a backup. Look how many backup quarterbacks you don't even know the name of them. He could be. He's better than, I'd say, 30 backups in the league right now. There's a couple of exceptional backups that are maybe, young rookies building themselves up. They're grooming like in Baltimore with Flacco. He's got a Louisville player. Anyway, there's certain teams like that have a rookie that they're grooming. But any team like Seattle was trying to bring him in. I don't know what happened there. But I know Seattle was going to talk to him about a contract. He should be playing. He should at least be a backup quarterback on a team. Give him a chance to earn the job.
Yeah, definitely. Even if I'd never, like you said about, don't put the camera on him. You don't have to. And I certainly believe, I don't know about you, but I believe, let's say in 7 years, in 10 years, I believe it'll be in every NFL contract. If you kneel, we have the right to fire you. We'll probably see that soon.
Well, it's already they're
But they don't
how do you
use it.
say
You
it?
know, they're not like every time they come out. If they fired everybody that kneeled, they would have got rid of so many people.
Exactly. It's like he was the one that started it, so he caught a lot of the backlash. There's a lot of players that kneel, hell happen, they've had whole teams kneel and they're still playing. But I think he's the one that started it. And by the way, he's getting paid. Nike's been paying him since he was released from San Francisco. He's had the Nike contract the entire time behind closed doors, so he's getting paid. But as far as playing, I don't really know if he cares about playing anymore. To be honest, if he really wanted to, like Seattle was trying to bring him, I don't think he had necessarily had an interest in playing.
Yeah, it's been a few years too. I'd say it'd be a little rough for him to get right back in the go with things. But it's kind of like a lot of people call me crazy. I think Johnny Manziel could still play if you put
Of
Johnny
course, yeah.
on the right team, on the key phrase on the right team.
I don't think Cleveland should ever cut him. He had a video of him drinking alcohol on the internet. I don't really understand. He's a grown man. He was over 21. If he wanted to go to a party and drink alcohol, on a bye week, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, he played great. When he left, they didn't win a game until this year. He won their last games, and I think he's like 2-2 in the NFL. He was a good quarterback. Now he's playing in the Canadian Football League. Definitely, could be a quarterback somewhere.
I prefer, I don't know about you, I prefer a running quarterback over a passer. And everybody gets on to me about that. I love Michael Vick, Donovan McNabb, when Donovan used to run. Michael Vick is a prime example. Dak runs a little bit here and there. It's weird because my favorite quarterback of all time never runs at all, Tom. But I would prefer that. Like, perfect examples of Cam Newton. Cam would prefer 90%, I would say 90, probably 40% of the time, he'd prefer to run it himself than the back because he's so big and tall and can get in such good strides. But nowadays, like you was mentioned, Joe Montana and Steve Young and all of them, they had a different style of football back then than we do today. Now it's pass friendly where somebody like Patrick Mahomes can throw for 500 yards every single game.
Exactly. I would say you want a quarterback that's able to run, like a Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield. But like a Mahomes is a perfect example. He's able to run if he has to. But if he don't, he can stand in the pocket and throw. Like RG3, when he was running his rookie season, he took Washington to the playoffs. He was on fire. He was running, but then he got he blew his knee out, and he hasn't been the same since because he's scared to run now because he knows the consequences if somebody cuts his knees off. So you need a quarterback that can get out of the pocket if they have to and can slide. Like Cam Newton takes way too much damage for my liking. He's still young, but taking that much shots to the head, the legs, there's only one accident can happen and his knee's gone and he's never going to be the same again. Running backs are the same way. If a running back blows his knee out like Adrian Peterson, which is a weird example of it, but they're not the same, anymore after that.
Yeah, definitely. Dak is a good example of taking a lot of hits. He gets hit a lot when he runs. It seems like Peyton was really good at sliding. Brady's good at sliding. Breeze is actually good at avoiding contact, but he's a little bitty.
Yeah.
He's a little bitty guy. He's hard to hit anyway.
Breeze is what Breeze done to I used to play football, and the reason I actually started liking the Saints was I was aspiring quarterback, and I looked at quarterbacks that I would like to emulate, and I looked at guys that had the best style, and I looked at Breeze, and I started researching what made him so much of a great passer, and he actually used to play tennis. He was a very highly touted tennis player. That's where he got his footwork from in the pocket. So a lot of he's not fast, he's not really elusive, but his footwork is so good that he's able to get away from a lot of tackles. And Brady, I think he had like one of the worst combine performances as far as the draft picks ever. But like you said, it's not all running. If you got a quarterback that's mentally strong, like Brady is very mentally strong, and he's very clutch. He's got ice in his veins, and sometimes that intangible is more important than having, the fastest 40 time coming out of college and stuff like that. Where you got guys like maybe Mahomes, maybe maybe he's not as clutch as Brady. Maybe he don't have that intangible where he can just get out of the pocket and go. Maybe he gets out of the pocket and goes, but maybe the big time comes and he needs one more first down and he throws an interception. Where Brady, is such a key at looking at formations and stuff. It's all about having that mindset of where it's like fighting, for instance. Like you got a Conor McGregor, when he walks in the octagon, he's cold. Like you've heard him say, like, when I walk in there, like with Jose Aldo, he wanted to kill me, but he was a blank face to me. I had no feelings towards him. I don't care. It's kind of like what Tom Brady is. He don't let the moments. No moment is bigger than he is when he's in it.
Yeah, Brady and Connor's a perfect example because when Psycho Tom, like I said, 2 minutes left on that clock and you're down, and Brady's got that ball, he goes into Psycho Tom mode. He just doesn't let that moment affect him. And Connor's that same way. I've watched that fight with Khabib over and over again, and even when he was walking out and the camera was zooming in on him, he looked as confident as you could get. He looked like he was about to knock him unconscious. I mean, he when he steps in there in the promo talking about Khabib, he was like, "It's cold in there. It's ice cold." Like you said, when I'm in there, I'm emotionless. And Brady's kind of the same way in football terms. But as far as, like you said, athlete for athlete, Breeze is a way better athlete. Patrick Mahomes is a way better athlete than Brady. Brady's not a good athlete, but clutch, timing, precision, accolades. I mean, it doesn't get any better.
Exactly. I mean, he's, like I said, Bill Belichick. I'm not a Patriots fan at all, but I respect greatness. And the Patriots, what he has built with the Patriots is nothing short of extraordinary. He's an amazing coach. Brady's an amazing quarterback. And I think they just maybe they need each other more than one could do better without the other. Maybe they just click. They click on such a like they're just the same person almost, if that makes sense. Like they just click. Like maybe if Belichick had a Mahomes, he wouldn't click with him and he wouldn't kind of mesh with him as like he does Brady. So I don't know. Time will tell. I don't know how many more years Tom got left. I mean, everybody like to see, their heroes play to their 50. Like, I like to see Breeze play till he's 50, but I don't know, looking at it, I don't know how many more years he has left. He's almost 40. Brady is 40. So these teams are going to have to see. They're going to start, like, Patriots, no reason they should not take a number one, a quarterback in the draft. Trade whatever you got to trade to get a quarterback. And put him behind Tom and let Tom look at the quarterbacks that come out of the Patriots. Look at Garoppolo that went to San Francisco. Tom Brady kind of messed with him and molded with him, and just to sit on the sidelines and see how Brady does things from the inside has got to be such a huge blessing as a young quarterback.
Definitely the time with him, and just when you think everything's going good and Garoppolo's the future at New England, they get rid of him. I mean, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy. I think Brady's got a few years left. I think the Brady-Belichick era will end with Brady leaving. A lot of people think Bill might leave first. I believe that Tom will retire first. But I appreciate you coming on here, man. It was really cool talking NFL with you.
Exactly, man. Hey, I think they walk out together. I mean, Belichick, he's done it all. They both done it all in the league. They've done everything that you would want to do in the league. They've done it together. So, Belichick, they got McDaniels, the coach McDaniels that was supposed to leave to go to Indianapolis last year. Kind of got me a little suspicious when he's like, I'm going to stay. I'd rather be offensive coordinator for the Patriots. I was like, what's going on down there in Foxborough? You know something I don't know? But, yeah, man, I appreciate you letting me come on here and talk with you, man.
That would definitely be ideal if they walked out together. Let's say they make it to 2 more Super Bowls and win 1, or make it to 3 more and win 1. Even if you do make it to 3 and win 1, win that 1, walk out together, retire, and storybook ending. Perfect. But we'll get you on here to do a MMA episode next.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'd love to. I watch a lot of football. I've watched a lot of football for a long time, but I definitely watch just as much MMA. Very huge in MMA. But yeah, hey, maybe we see Brady versus Breeze this year in the Super Bowl. You know, yeah,
Maybe.
it's not out of the realm of possibility. See,
No, they're both
we get
playing
to,
good. Both playing very good at the moment, and still got
yeah,
a lot of football left. Who you got? Final before we get off here. Who you got? Vulcan versus Smith tonight. You think Anthony's gonna beat Vulcan?
yeah. I think Anthony's gonna take it. Boken, I don't think he's taking it as serious. You know, of course he had that loss to DC, but Anthony Smith is just the way he walked Shogun down. I know Shogun's out of his prime, but the way he walked him down in that cage and just started
No
dropping
respect.
bombs on him,
No respect.
no respect. I mean, just crazy. Like he done to Rashad Evans. Just no. I mean, just crazy. I think Anthony Smith has just got the mind of a killer right now, and he's just walking out there. He's taking every. You know, he wants it. He wants it bad.
I'm going to watch it right now. I think it starts very soon, and I've got Anthony too. I've got, like you said, he kind of reminds me of a heavier Chris Lieben. Like he just walks
Yeah.
out and fights. Like if you get me, you get me. I think he's lost a few times in the UFC, but I believe he beats Vulcan. I think light heavyweight's a better weight class for him than middleweight, and we could be looking at a serious contender with Anthony Smith.
Exactly. I think he is. You know, I don't. If he wins this fight, what do you do with him? He beat the number 2 guy. You know, Jones isn't ranked yet. He beat the number 2 guy behind Alexander Gustafsson. What do you do with him? After Jones and Gus fight, and what happens if DC loses the heavyweight title?
And what happens if Gus beats Jones? What happens if Derek beats DC? And what happens if Alex beats John?
That'd be crazy. But you know, like DC saying, if I lose the heavyweight title, I'm not giving up the light heavyweight title. I'll go fight light heavyweight. You know, you're not taking everything away from me.
But I appreciate it, man. We'll do a MMA episode next, and I'll get in contact with you as soon as this is uploaded, and I'll tag you in it.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man.
All right, you have a good night.
You too, man.
All right, everybody. This is Hank with Smoke Break MMA. I hope you guys enjoyed this NFL episode. I believe Megatron's the best wide receiver of all time. Arguably. I'll say that. Randy Moss, Megatron, Jerry Rice, obviously, but Megatron's amazing. Anybody who doesn't follow NFL, just go to Google and type in Megatron highlights. This is Hank with Smoke Break MMA. See you.